Hi, it's me again. If you saw my first video, welcome back. Thank you for sticking with me. And if this is the first video you're seeing, hello, my name is Gina, and I like to talk about the planet. This wrinkly sheet right here is my whiteboard for the day. So there are a lot of ways that someone can reduce their footprint. Obviously, some ways are more expensive or more elaborate than others, but my goal here for this channel is to kind of start you off with some non-life altering choices that you can make on a daily basis. It's kind of like working out a muscle. Like if you've never gone to the gym before, you're not going to start with 100-pound weights on each arm. You kind of start with 5 pounds and then build your way up to 10 pounds and make bigger and bigger weights eventually. It's the same as this. You make bigger and bigger changes in your life eventually. With that being said, I'd like to introduce you. I'd like to present to you a few simple tips that can lead you to reduce your footprint and then eventually make greater changes in the future. Is that cool? Let's get into it. My first suggestion is ditching paper towels. Yes, let's start with the history of paper towels. Paper towels were actually invented by Arthur Scott as an accident. He had like a toilet paper company, and one day the shipment of toilet paper from the manufacturer came and it was like cut too thick and too big to serve as toilet paper. So what's the solution? Like, is all this paper gonna go to waste? Well, Arthur Scott remembered hearing about this teacher who, when her students were sick, she would give them like their own little piece of paper to wipe their hands with so that they wouldn't infect the like communal hand towels in the bathroom and get the rest of the kids sick. So he remembered this and he thought to himself, I know, I'll market these as disposable paper towels so that we don't contaminate other hand towels. Like, it's supposed to be a very sanitary thing. And that's what it was. Like, it's super convenient, it's sanitary, like there's a lot of benefits to paper towels. However, the production of paper towels and the disposableness of paper towels can be a problem. Overall, from what I've read, the carbon footprint for the production of paper towels is relatively low, like quite low. However, the amount of trees that it takes and water that it takes to produce paper towels is on the higher side. I have my notes on the side here, so if I'm looking over there, that's what it is. It takes 17 trees and more than 20,000 gallons of water to make 1 ton of paper towels. A ton of paper towels is a lot, but in the US alone, we use about 13 billion pounds of paper towels each year, which is about equal to 3,000 tons. So at 17 trees per ton, that's like 51,000 trees a year that are being cut down for paper towels. And water, I mean, 20,000 times 3,000, 6 million? Wait, I feel like I need to do that math. Oh, 60 million. Wait, that seems really high. 20,000 times 3,000. I think it's 60 million gallons of water a year in the US. It's kind of a lot. And globally, discarded paper towels result in 254 million tons of trash every year that's going into landfills. And I also have written here that if every household in the US used just 1 less roll of paper towels per year, that would save 544,000 trees a year. These numbers, they're pretty high, they're pretty scary. So what can we do about it? There are a couple of alternatives to using just regular paper towels. And my first one, which is completely free of charge, is using old rags, towels, and like clothing scraps that you don't wear anymore, that are worn out, or maybe you don't have a purpose for them. Instead of throwing them out, consider using them as paper towels. You know, spray them with your cleaning solution and wipe down your surfaces with those. I think it's pretty effective, and I feel really good about not throwing away something every time I need to clean. The point of this video is providing some things that are free for you, but if you do have a little bit of budget to invest in products, then you could also consider sustainably sourced paper towels. I was scrolling through Instagram the other day and I saw this Grove Collaborative ad for a brand called Seedling, and I'll insert the ad here.
To clean up our messes, we're doing damage to the planet. So we're growing a sustainable future for home paper. Introducing Seedling, a line of sustainably produced toilet paper, paper towels, and tissues. It's made from fast-growing bamboo.
The bamboo grows a lot faster than trees, so they're easily replaceable, and it's just more sustainable. There's going to be enough bamboo to create the paper towels. Or if you want a reusable option as well, there are brands including Drops. I got an email about this the other day. They're selling Swedish dishcloths on their website now, which are essentially a reusable eco paper towel alternative, which is made from repurposed cotton that would have otherwise become waste. So number 1, it's recyclable. Number 2, it's absorbent. Number 3, it's reusable. And number 4, when you're done with it, when it's like totally worn out, it's biodegradable. That's really cool. You can wash these in your dishwasher or in your laundry. I also saw this product that is a paper towel roll made out of fabric, and it looks a lot like reusable toilet paper, if you've ever seen that before. It's like you roll it up and yeah, you just like reuse it, you wash it, you roll it up. Of course, like I'm not saying that you need to go for reusable products or whatever. Like I said before, paper towels are convenient, they're sanitary, and like sometimes you just need something disposable. Like if my dog throws up, I'm not gonna use like my towel to clean it up because I don't feel super comfortable doing that, I guess. I mean, I guess you could like rinse it out. But the good news is like just by reducing your use of it and reducing your waste, you are making a big difference. So remember that. Number 2 on my list of tips is to reuse glass jars and lids. Let's start again with the history of glass. Glass has been around since ancient times. The first glass bottles were actually found to be used in Mesopotamia from like 1500 BCE, which is super long time ago. Legend has it that glass was actually discovered in Syria when a group of natron merchants shipwrecked along like some coast. When they were cooking, they used the natron. Let me look up how you say this.
Natron.
Okay. So when they shipwrecked, they were using the natron to prop up their pots and pans while they were cooking. And so the natron combined with the sand and the fire created like molten glass, which was probably very cool to discover. And like glass has been used ever since. Ancient Romans used glass to hold their wine. Archaeologists actually found an unopened wine bottle in Germany that was 1700 years old. Like that's so cool. In general, glass is 100% recyclable, but only 33% of the United States glass is actually recycled, and the rest ends up in a landfill. This has a lot to do with consumer education and just the fact that not a lot of us know how to properly recycle. Contamination of recycling is a big issue, where maybe like the person who's recycling, like putting it in the recycling bin, we think we're doing a good thing, but like if you don't wash out the containers, or if you put something in the mix that isn't actually recyclable, like it can contaminate the whole bin and make it so that it can't be recycled. So yeah, the rest of the glass, the other 67% of glass, according to this article, is ending up in landfills, in the oceans, in the environment. So what can we do about this? A solution for this problem is to reuse your glass jars. I personally love doing this. I have a ton of glass jars and bottles that I use all the time. I think that this is definitely something that I've found value in. I like using containers to I'll make tea or coffee at night and then put it in the jar or the bottle and put it in the fridge because I like drinking my tea cold. I will use like empty sauce jars to put peppers or like chopped up vegetables or whatever in there. I also use it for leftovers. If I have leftovers, I like put it in the jar. And like, not only is it kind of pretty, it's also like functional because you can see what's in there and you're more likely to use it. Does that make sense? If you don't have space for jars, or maybe you have a little too much like me, make sure that you recycle properly. And you can contact your city and see like what recycling glass in your city looks like. It's been difficult in my city, specifically since COVID, because during COVID, they stopped doing the recycling pickup, but ever since they resumed it, they decided not to take up glass anymore because it was, I don't know, they said that it would break, like it was more dangerous, which is a shame because it's one of like the easiest things to recycle and keep the quality of the actual glass. Whereas plastic and paper, like I think the more you recycle it, the less the quality is reduced. I guess depending on your methods. The third tip that I have for you today is using your own silverware. Let's talk about the history of plastic cutlery, shall we? Plastic cutlery was invented in the 20th century to reduce disease transmission from common drinking and eating utensils. I have a quote here. This eliminated the need to use water, electricity, and manpower to wash them. At first, plastic cutlery was considered reusable just because it was popular during the Great Depression, and so everyone was very frugal with their spending. After the Great Depression ended, people didn't need to behave as frugally as they did before. Today we see plastic cutlery at parties, restaurants, to-go restaurants. This is extremely common. I think it would be even more so used because of the pandemic recently, because everyone's getting to go, first of all. Not as many people are dining in restaurants, and so plastic silverware is being distributed more often and maybe like a lot more than you need. And so a lot of it gets thrown away. The great big impact of plastic silverware is that plastic never actually decomposes. Over time, it just becomes smaller and smaller until we can't see it anymore, but it's still there. It's just in the form of a microplastic, which is still contaminating the environment, being eaten by animals. I've heard stories of animals that have consumed so much plastic and microplastic that they end up starving to death because they're not receiving nutrients and their stomach is just full of plastic. Some more plastic utensil facts. In the United States, more than 100 million plastic utensils are used every day, but their size and shape make it difficult to recycle. So basically, they all end up in the landfill. If these facts scare you, I have a simple solution for you, and of course, it's free. Bring your own cutlery. When ordering online food for delivery or for takeout, I always look for the button that says like no cutlery needed or no silverware needed, because I have silverware at home and I'm not like, what do I, like, I don't know, like, why did I use plastic if I have silverware at home? If you want, I've personally never done this, but I also haven't gone out in the past year because of you know who. If you want, you can bring cutlery out to restaurants with you or keep it in your backpack in case you end up making a stop that you didn't expect. So again, I give you a free option, but you can also pay for alternatives. You can also like DIY a case for your cutlery. Like if you do choose to take it out and about with you, you can buy a case, like a really cute case for silverware, and you can actually buy some cases that come with the silverware, which is really cute. So yeah, you can pay for some options like that so that you don't feel the need to use plastic cutlery when you're out and about. If you do still want to have like a party or you have a business where you need to give out plastic, you can look into biodegradable or compostable cutlery. An example that I have is a brand called Repurpose. I follow them on Instagram. Their Instagram is here. Their thing is creating green alternatives to disposable plastic since 2010. So yeah, there's actually a lot of companies like this. When I was in DC, we went to like this taco place. I think it was vegan actually, which is kind of fun. We went to this place And the cutlery that they gave us was actually compostable. So I thought that was really, really neat. That was the first time I'd ever seen that. And it just opened my eyes to the possibilities. And lastly, stop buying things you don't need. Actually, this is a 2-for-1. First of all, stop buying things that you don't need and stop donating everything to the thrift store. For this section, I'm going to be talking about the fashion industry specifically. We know today a very common term is fast fashion, but a little history on the fashion industry. Before the 1800s, fashion was slow. You basically, as far as I read, I wasn't there, you basically had to get the materials, get your leather, get your cotton, and make the clothes yourself. During the Industrial Revolution, though, there was sewing machines, and there were dressmakers who catered to the middle class. And from there, you know, fashion evolved, trends began. Like by the 70s, 60s, whatever, clothes started to be used as like a tool for self-expression. By the late 90s and 2000s, well, cheap fashion exploded. Online shopping, quick turnaround, and fleeting trends. There's always like a new fashion show, new season, which meant that you had to keep buying in order to stay on top of the trends and stay relevant, essentially, stay hip. So, firstly, the human impacts of the fast fashion industry are pretty gruesome. Often overseas, there's low wages, poor working conditions. There's been like multiple factories that have collapsed on thousands of workers or like caught on fire. Basically, people have died. People have been a victim to this industry. But besides the people effects, a lot of clothes use toxic dyes and chemicals in order to produce like the vibrant colors that we love. I read on CNN that fashion is actually responsible for 1/5 of industrial water pollution. The article from CNN that I was reading, it was talking about Bangladesh, which is the second biggest garment manufacturer in the world. And a lot of times, you know, they're producing this stuff and the water used to create the clothes that is polluted with the dyes, with the chemicals. A lot of times it's just dumped into waterways because there's not a lot of restrictions on stuff like that. But it was really sad to read because they're saying like the waterways are black and there are no more fish. Simply put, we're consuming too much. We live in an overconsumption culture. We live in a throwaway society, and we're not thinking about where this stuff is gonna end up. Especially because here in America, a lot of the times the stuff that we're doing, we don't see it happening. We don't see the effects of it in our life because we live in a country that is like rich. We live in a country that exports its problems. I read an article from 2018 that said 84% of all unwanted clothes end up in a landfill. For the clothes we donate to a thrift store, to charity, I guess like the nicer things get sold in the store, but the majority of things, they get shipped off essentially to other countries who can also resell it, but this erodes their own local markets, their own fashion markets, their own culture. Like, we're just sending them our garbage. No one wants to be America's dump. Like that, like what? There have been a few East African countries actually who have banned the importation of secondhand goods from America because, you know, like they have to put themselves first too. Of course, you know how this works. I'm not going to tell you all these terrible things and then not tell you what you can do to help the problem. Don't buy things that you don't need. Just because the shirts are 2 for $5 doesn't mean you need it, you know? That's step number 1. The best way to reduce your waste is to reduce how much stuff you're buying. That's number 1. But secondly, consider upcycling your clothes before tossing them. I love upcycling clothes. I'm not gonna say I'm super good at it. This shirt was actually, it was like a mock neck. So I just, you know, sewed up the top, and I feel like I have a cute top now. I'm glad that I was able to make it out of something that I already had instead of buying new materials or buying a new shirt. Try upcycling. Try, if it's too worn out and you want to throw it away, consider like my tip number 1, cut it into paper towels. Use it to clean your house, use it to wipe down your car after you wash it. I don't know. If you still do want to buy new stuff but you don't want to contribute to this, consider buying from sustainable companies. I'm not gonna lie to you, like, those are expensive. I don't personally shop from sustainable companies all the time because I don't have the budget for that. So my personal favorite way to buy new stuff is by thrifting. Buying secondhand. If you've never gone thrifting, if maybe you think it's gross, like, just give it a chance. Give it a chance. It might take some getting used to, but you can find good stuff. You can find trendy pieces, good quality pieces. You can find, I don't know. I got these shorts thrifting. We have so much textiles already in the world. Stuff that's not getting recycled, not getting reused, just going into a dump. If you feel like you're contributing maybe to an industry that isn't the most sustainable, this could be a good place to start. Like thrifting, whether you go on OfferUp, Depop, borrowing stuff. Like you don't always have to buy stuff. If you've made it to this part in the video, I feel like I've been talking for like 8 years, but if you've made it this far, I want to give you a secret bonus tip. What? Something that you're already doing right now. So like you're already taking the first step. I'm so proud of you. The tip is to educate yourself. Educate yourself, because the only way that you can move forward, the only way that you can learn these things is by reading about the effects of the things that we're doing, reading about the different solutions that are available or being created. There are people who are truly trying to make a difference. And what excites me is that person could be you. Was that corny? There are people doing really finding creative solutions. There are people who have started organizations for doing good for the environment or environmental justice. And the more we educate ourselves, the more we put ourselves in the position to also do more good. So yeah, if you learned something or if you like this video, like, give me a comment. I love validation. I'm not making this to make you feel bad. I'm trying to spread information so that we can do more collectively for the planet, because it doesn't have to be hard. Caring for the planet doesn't have to be hard. Making green choices doesn't have to be hard. It's just about how you go about it. I think by starting small and building ourselves up, we can create really sustainable futures for ourselves. If you want any more information, or if you want to talk about some of this stuff, like, feel free to DM me on Instagram or leave me a comment, whatever, and we can chat, and we can talk about your experiences, my experiences. It'll be fun. But yeah, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next week. Bye.